course.
A century ago, there was plenty of brilliant white, thick, hard salt as far as the eye could see at the Bonneville Salt Flats. That meant seeing in double-digit miles. As the years unwound, the damning game of give and take, the salt giving and man taking, knocked the natural balance out of whack, causing the salt surface to not only thin, but the perimeter to slowly shrink. Factor in encroaching development and poor government oversight, and today, what took thousands of years to create is in a precarious state after mere decades. The land speed racing community is now facing a daunting ecological emergency. If left unchallenged, it will signal the end of safe time trials on the flats in the very near future. This is not sensationalistic hype. This is sobering reality. Who cares, you might be asking yourself? Why should I care if a bunch of speed freaks lose their playground? Because the Bonneville Salt Flats have hosted thousands upon thousands of average nobodies who became somebodies by setting records with their hand-built speed machines. They had a dream, built it into reality, and proved in front of God and the watching world their idea had merit. This American family-based sport continues to welcome the mechanically curious with a can-do attitude and encourages innovations in science, technology, engineering, and transportation safety. From the first race in 1914, racers understood the tremendous motorsports value of the salt beds. They recognized its matchless natural surface as a place where speed would only be restricted by the pace of technological breakthroughs and the courage drivers found when applying the throttle. The mining industry understood the great mineral value of the Bonneville Salt Flats and had been extracting halite, table salt, since the late 1800s. When German potash supply sources were disrupted by World War I, the sodium wonderland was tapped for the potash hiding in the brine below the salt crust. Potash extraction hasn't stopped since. Weather patterns contributed to fiddling about with the salty playa, but historically, whenever man monkeys about in nature, nature often gets screwed. Collective reports repeatedly indicated the salt thickness to be 18 inches and as hard as cement. The Utah History Encyclopedia notes the salt depth ranges from less than 1 inch to more than 6 feet. What was once 90,000 acres is now a scant 30,000 and shrinking. Land speed racers are willing environmentalists. Much as it might grate upon the hardline environmentalist, land speed racers have been the unflinching stewards of the salt for more than 60 years. Keeping it pure and unmolested has been their goal, as evidenced by their conduct. Since 1976, when the Bureau of Land Management took control of the Salt Flats from the state of Utah, a slow but steady annihilation of this historic landmark has taken place. This has gone on despite its heightened fragile designation as an area of critical environmental concern. Empty words to the BLM. For decades, the mining companies have, with BLM permission, under permit, systematically and geologically raped the Bonneville Salt Flats. Industry is not to blame. They do what they are told in the language of their permits. It is the BLM that has failed the American public on so many counts by not requiring the mining concerns to replace what they remove. The problem percolated into dire circumstances because the BLM has not required, in the off-season, the mining companies to return the salt to the north side of Interstate 80, where they had originally collected it in a brine solution. Nowhere else in the nation have users been so abused. It now falls to us, citizens of the United States and land speed racers, to protect, defend, and keep Bonneville safe, if for no other reason than to permit future generations to get suited up and go real fast. The salt is in serious trouble. In September of 2015, a group of stakeholders met in an historic first-of-its-kind meeting in Wendover, Utah. The group consisted of land speed racers, mining interests, government and political leaders, as well as engineers and researchers. Their purpose, to restore the Bonneville Salt Flats to the premier land speed racing venue it once was. To do this, the land speed racing community will need the support of every American who believes this geologic wonder should be preserved for generations unborn. We will need the support of elected officials and government agencies on the local, state, and federal levels. It is an American problem that requires American solutions. Please join us in the struggle to save God's gift to the land speed racer, the Bonneville Salt Flats. You can get more information to help save the salt at SaveTheSalt.org.